So let's get into these so-called free houses that supposedly only cost $1. Y'all, let's start right there. Because last time I checked, $1 is still money. Go try walking into Dollar Tree, snatching up whatever you want, and then tell the cashier it's free. Security will have you in cuffs so fast your head will spin, because newsflash, $1 isn't free. But somehow Tiffany convinced herself that if she calls it free and slaps a $1 tag on it, it's a community blessing. Ma'am, make it make sense. And that right there is what drives me up the wall. It's not just the phony generosity, it's how she says it with her whole chest, like she's reinventing the wheel. Tiffany, you are just not good at this, which might explain why your run only lasted for years. Welcome back, y'all. Go ahead and smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Share the video. And drop a comment down below to let me know how you feel. I'm sitting comfy today in my little green circle, rocking full green head to toe. Let me know, do y'all like the circle vibe? Yes, no? Okay, cool. Let's keep going now. Let's rewind this chaos from the vault, because what we're about to unpack is one of Tiffany's most infamous big ideas. This was one of those moments where she swore the trustees were just being haters. According to her, they were blocking greatness. But the real story? Tiffany rolled out this grand, over-the-top plan to give everybody in town a house. She came in hot like she was Oprah on Christmas. You get a house? You get a house? Literally told people, give me $1 and I'll hand you a house. Like, with a straight face. And her logic? There's one vacant home on this block, so everybody here should get one. Never mind that it's one single house and 12 people live on that street. Her solution? Y'all work it out amongst yourselves? Swear I wish I was joking. Tiffany had a dream, y'all. A real dream. In her mind, she was Martin Luther King. If you ever heard her explain this housing plan, you'd think she believed she was Dr. King reincarnated. She wasn't just having a dream, she was the dream. She really thought the "I have a dream" speech was her autobiography. It's how deep the delusion went, and this dream. It was supposed to stretch across the entire village, one block at a time. She claimed she was going to sell these homes for $1, but of course here comes the twist: buyers only had about 6 months to fully renovate the house. Now here's where it gets shady. Anyone who's ever dealt with Tiffany knows this woman loves to hold up paperwork, like she's the queen of permit delays. So if she decides not to sign off on your paperwork, you're stuck. You run out of time. And what happens then? Foreclosure. And guess who snatches the house right back? Bingo. She does. And if we're being honest, that was probably the setup from the beginning. She wasn't trying to uplift the people. She was trying to play Monopoly with real properties. And we can't forget about Mr. Holmes. Oh, he was her ride or die. That man was front row, 10 toes down for Tiffany at every turn, anytime she was. Under heat, he was jumping up like her personal hype man, ready to throw hands for her image. He stood by her like a bodyguard with no paycheck just out, loyal to the bone. But now, silence. Not a word. Man went ghost. He went from shouting in the front row to vanishing in the background. All that loyalty? Gone? All that noise? Quiet. And honestly, that tells you everything you need to know. She said it plain as day. If they're not offering us anything, we're not doing it. Period. That was her stance. No money. That. Simple as that. So all this arguing, all this back and forth, it's pointless. It's wasted breath. Tiffany made her position crystal clear from the jump. But now all of a sudden, she's flipping the script saying, you need to include us. Come to my house. Drag me out by my ankles and tie me to a chair because I'm not going to want to stay. And somehow, now that's Keith's job. Really? So it's Keith's responsibility now to physically bring her into the conversation she already walked away from. My God, Tiffany. Now she's calling these meetings secret squirrel gatherings. Acting like this is all happening behind her back. Like she hasn't known about every move from day one. Girl, please. We all know better. And just to make it even clearer, let's answer those last two questions everyone keeps asking. Who's eligible for the housing lottery? Tiffany, who's running the lottery. Tiffany, who's in control of this entire program from top to bottom. You guessed it, Tiffany. This whole initiative is hers. She designed it, she pushed it, and she's steering the whole thing. So if things don't make sense, if it all seems confusing or half-baked, that's exactly why. She said we're not getting anything out of this. And that's the problem. That's the concern. We're saying, before we sign off on something with zero concrete information, let's hit pause. Because once we approve it, it's locked in. And when things fall apart, all the fingers are going to point straight at the trustees. So we're trying to be smart. We want to plant something solid and spelled out before we put our names on anything. It's not hate. That's called doing your job responsibly. Now, when we finally give the green light to anything connected to the land bank, we already told the residents who called after the housing meeting we're going to be transparent. We're going to share every single detail. We'll give people the documents, the data, the facts, everything. Because at least with the land bank, there's a framework, there's structure, there's some kind of order to how it operates. And that's the number one priority right now, making sure this process isn't a free-for-all. Making sure we don't saddle the village with risk we can't afford. So yeah, we're holding back for now until we have something real, something flexible, something that actually works and doesn't blow up later. That's all we're asking for. And by the way, that is what real communication looks like. When people are passionate, when tensions are high, you don't cut them off with, "Are you done yet?" You let them talk. You let them finish. Then you step in and say, "Okay, what I'm hearing is," and repeat it back to show you listened. That's how you move forward. That's how people get heard. That's what respect looks like. That's how real progress is made, by understanding and being understood. So now, let's see if Tiffany is going to do that. Let's see if she's finally going to listen, or if she's going to keep being her usual self. Honestly, if I had to bet, she's just going to do what she always does. But hey, let's give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's see what she does next. Because here comes the twist. Tiffany's about to pull that classic move. Y'all already voted for the land bank. And yes, technically they did. But let's not ignore the details they voted for it with. Zero information. No outline, no breakdown, no receipts. Just a vague agreement with no structure behind it. And now Tiffany's trying to make it seem like she's asking a simple follow-up. But what she's really doing is spinning the narrative. She's trying to make it sound like someone admitted they blindly approved a massive program with no real data. Which just proves one thing: Tiffany hasn't been paying attention. Not even a little bit. Because if she didn't actually say it, people are putting "I quote" in front of a made-up line. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Can't fabricate a quote and pass it off like she said it on camera. Defamation. You don't get to twist someone's words, slap quotation marks on them, and expect no consequences. That's not just shady, it's dangerous. Then after all that, y'all came crawling back trying to bargain. Maybe we can still get something out of this. Meanwhile, Tiffany was standing tall, saying the program wasn't for the land bank. Wasn't for investors. It was supposedly for the residents. But the real kicker, she claimed they never let her even start the program. Which, surprise, wasn't true. They did let her start it. They voted for it. What they wanted in return was something basic. Details. Solid plan. Real timelines. Actual numbers. You know, basic accountability. But Tiffany doesn't do accountability. She does vibes. She wanted everyone to just roll with it, no questions asked. Just like she did with that shady Cancer Foundation scam. Remember that? It's for a good cause. I know someone with cancer. And then boom, money magically redirected, and the foundation wasn't even registered under her name. She strayed. Up-lied. It was a hustle in a wig. Let's get back to those so-called $1 homes. You know, the ones she tried to pitch as some revolutionary give-back? Here's what it really was. These homes weren't for struggling families. They were reserved for investors. All you needed was to prove you had $20,000 in liquid funds and be a licensed and bonded contractor in Dolton. That's it. From there, it was all bureaucracy and trapdoors. You had to apply for a 90-day work permit, pass 2 inspections, and drop $1,000 in escrow. Fail the final inspection? Game over. No appeal. No second shot. They pulled names through a lottery system completely. Random. If your number hit, you were in. But even then, only 75% of your money came back. The other 25%? Straight to the village. And you better budget for surprises, because you're definitely going to find some. Let me break it down with a real example. I nearly got one of those homes. Luckily, I brought in a private inspector. That man got under the house, looked me dead in the eye and said, "Don't do it." Joists were rotten. The foundation was giving out. The whole place was sinking. One inspection saved me from financial hell. And this isn't Tiffany's first disaster in housing. She once had a rental where a single mom lived with her kids. Basement flooding, feces floating, black mold covering everything. The mold was so aggressive, it grew overnight on clean shoes. The kids were getting sick. The health department condemned the house. But instead of fixing it, Tiffany called up her own inspector who magically cleared it, and she moved that same mom and her babies right back in. A few weeks later, house condemned again. So when she tells you to hire a private inspector, don't think she's giving out good advice. No, she's telling you how to play the game. Village inspectors follow rules. Private ones, it might be more flexible, especially if they owe her a favor. Oh, here's the part nobody talks about. If you're an investor in this $1 program, you can't even keep the house. You can't rent it. You can't hold it. You can't put it on Section 8. You must sell it. That's how the village gets their cut. Now the $5,000 homes, whole different mess. This program was supposedly for Dolton residents only. But to even qualify, you had to commit to living there for at least 5 years. All renovations had to be completed in 90 days. And again, the 90-day permit rule, plus inspections at the start and finish. Here's where it goes off the rails. Tiffany is notorious for delaying permits. So while you're sitting waiting on approval, your 90 days are slipping away. No renovations, no work, just waiting. And when time runs out, foreclosure, and guess who scoops up the property? You already know. That wasn't a bug in the system. That was the plan. Let you fail, then grab the house for dirt cheap. Straight up villain behavior. And here's the saddest part: she could have pulled it off. All she had to do was be a little transparent. Maybe even communicate like a real leader. Lay out expectations. Stick to deadlines. Nope. The ego was too big. The control freak energy was too strong. And she burned it all down. To quote Kendrick Lamar, "Be humble. Sit down. Let me fast forward." In the $5,000 program, escrow is $500. Still a lottery system. Still full of financial landmines. And again, get a private inspector? Now she's out here begging the board? Just give me the same chance you gave the land bank. But the land bank didn't beg for checks. It just showed results. Tiffany had for years. What did she do with it exactly? Nothing but fumble, she claims. If the trustees had ideas, we could have added them in. If they did, she ignored them. She didn't want partners. She wanted puppets. Then comes the video. Trustee Holmes gets up there looking like he stepped out of a World War II documentary, all grainy and serious, bootlicking like it's his full-time job. Says, "I asked if any funds were coming back to the village, and she said no." Really, where's the footage, Holmes? Where's the proof? Then he starts dropping creepy little comments that make your skin crawl. Major predator vibes. I don't care how long he's been around, that energy is foul. Tiffany follows that with a chopped clip from the land bank rep. The woman's explaining how the money goes back to the community, and right before she finishes cut, Tiffany slices the video right there, because heaven forbid we get the full truth. And don't get me started on that PowerPoint. One slide said no revenue to ... And the text was placed right over a guy's zipper. Like, what are we doing? Approve that? How is this real? Sad music. Cropped videos. Broken logic. This wasn't leadership, it was daytime drama. She wasn't serving the community. She was starring in her own personal soap opera. Tiffany, you weren't relatable. You weren't trustworthy. You weren't even competent. And that's why you didn't get reelected. You failed. One term done. But I'll say the thing nobody else will. I miss you. Yeah, I do. You were chaos wrapped in a blazer. A walking, talking scandal machine. And now that it's calm again, I kind of miss the show. Y'all behave. Because clearly, I'm not. If you've made it this far, drop an 8 in the comments. I see you. I appreciate you. Peace.